Dead Net Theory is definitely one of the albums of all time. Just one listen and I can tell that CILC put a lot of passion into making it, but that passion definitely won't be for everyone. In fact, over 3/4 of the people I know would probably get a headache just listening to it. But at the risk of being judged, I will say that I did like a lot of the ideas that it brought to the table. I actually did think it was kind of funny to have a song called Zip Bomb start off by, sampling actual, bombs going off. I also think that the album sticks to its edgy hyperpop theme pretty faithfully, actually. And perhaps, most notably of all, the chord progressions are very unique. If you play only the first 5 seconds or so of any song, most of the time you'll get just the chords before the rest of the noise just kind of kicks in. See, I may not like how all of the songs wind up sounding, but pretty much every song has a promising first 5 seconds. One final thing that I did like about the sound of this album is that it clearly isn't unorthodox on accident. It seems as if CILC knew that some people's heads would explode listening to this, but instead of fixing it, they just kind of leaned into it quite a bit. That I don't give a fuck attitude about songwriting doesn't always make for good songs, but it does mesh pretty well with the rebellious spirit of the project. So, now that I've talked about some of the things I like about the overall sound of the project, I'd like to move on to discussing what the album is actually about. The subject matter that CILC throws out there is pretty disturbing, with plentiful mentions of suicidal behavior and self-loathing. The chorus in the song titled "Oomphy, Please Don't Kill Yourself" also heavily implies that CILC is not happy with the state of their body. I know it feels like a random thing to bring up now, like it's weird timing, but just in case CILC is watching this, don't do it. Ending your own life is controversial for a reason. It's bad. Anyway, back on track. Almost the whole album sort of feels like it's meant for CILC more than us, which as an artist myself, I sort of respect that. Using an artistic medium to vent about issues you're facing can actually be pretty healthy for you. If I had made this album personally though, I would definitely have some difficulties clicking post. Which isn't to say that it was wrong of CILC to post it. It's just, for me, that would be kind of a bold digital footprint to leave behind. While I did find the concept of the project to be interesting and engaging, I will admit that the lyrics definitely just weren't for me. There are some lines in some of the tracks that are just too gross for me to even give as examples, but if you look at some of the lyrics on Genius, you'll know what I'm talking about pretty fast. Aside from the weird nature of the lyrics, it doesn't help the relatability of the album that it's venting all the time, because most people who hear the lyrics won't be able to relate to such an oddly specific, set of issues. But like I stated before, the album just isn't really for us. One thing that I do think could have been omitted from the album completely is the use of autotune. Or at least auto-tune to the degree that it was used. You could barely tell at some points what notes they were trying to hit, because the pitch correction was so out of tune. But that's not the only way I think that it hurt the project either. Because the whole "I don't give a fuck about what you think" attitude in the album was what I considered to be the strongest and most uniquely defined trait of the entire album. Using all those filters and auto-tune to drown out your voice though, it doesn't seem like a very bold decision, and it kind of gives off the message, I do kind of care about what you think of my voice. in the final track of the album, there's a bit of a skit where it like plays the whole thing off as if it was all some sort of scientific experiment to like brainwash us into giving the album a good review. And having that concept of, you know, brainwashing you into like giving it a good review on, you know, a website, it plays into the whole dead internet theory thing that the album was going for. So the final words of the album sort of mirror what CILC would like you to say about the album. It urges you to review it as like nothing you have ever heard before, an album that everyone should listen to. While I do agree that it is like nothing I have ever heard before, I wouldn't really recommend that everyone listen to it. After all, it is kind of the sort of project that would instantly kill a medieval peasant were he to listen to it. With all that being said, if you do like loud, edgy hyperpop, then I suggest you check out CILC's channel. I'll be linking it in the description. I don't know how many people are going to watch this, and I definitely don't know how many people out of those people are going to enjoy angsty music like this, but I'll leave the link there anyway. Now, most critics usually give a, you know, score to whatever they're reviewing at about this time of the video, but I don't want to do that because my taste in music changes so frequently, and also I just don't wanna. So, instead, I'll tell you this. My favorite track was Mid Music Monday, and my least favorite track was Skeleton Pink. Let me know down in the comments what you thought of the review or what you thought of the music, and I'll see you in the next one. Alright, bye!